tried so hard to see it. Took me so long to believe it. You choose someone like me to carry your victory. Perfection could never earn it. You give what we don't deserve, and you take the broken things and raise them to glory. You are my champion. Giants fall when you stand undefeated. Every battle you've won. I am who you say I am. You crown me with confidence. I am seated in the heavenly place, undefeated, with the one who has conquered it all. Now I can finally see it. You're teaching me how to receive it. So let all the striving cease. Oh, this is my victory. You are my champion. Giants fall when you stand undefeated. Every battle you've won. I am who you say I am. You crown me with confidence. I am seated in the heavenly place, undefeated, with the one who has conquered it all. When I lift my voice and shout, every wall comes crashing down. The authority Jesus has given me. When I open up my mouth, miracles start breaking out. I have the authority Jesus has given me. 'Cause you are my champion. Giants fall when you stand undefeated. Every battle you won. I am who you say I am. Crown me with confidence. I am seated in the heavenly place, undefeated, with the one who has conquered it all. Okay, you can fall down now.
Well, thanks to the Shaker crew on the front row, man. They were shaking today. It really is pretty cool because usually I get this question constantly: is who's doing our chatty part today? Hey Vince, who's doing our chatty part today?
I don't know. We're just we're gonna have a discussion here in a second,
Vince is going to take care of it.
and that'll be all the, yeah. Oh boy, wow. Why did I say yes to this? I only thought I missed Justin. I really missed Justin, and probably for the next 15 minutes, you're really gonna miss Justin in a whole new way. Oh man. Okay. All right, so, Dale Carnegie says, don't talk about your weaknesses, right? But I can't not do that. I'm half engineer and half artist, and I have all the social problems of both, right? And so today I'm probably going to say more words than I've ever said in here, like in all the time we've been here. And yeah, and Dave went with me on some speaking gigs I did when I was promoting a book. And I used to go and I used to sit in the conference room like the day ahead of being there, and then all the day I was speaking, just so I kind of felt a little bit at home in the room, just to get over my terror. So now you know, now that I've lowered your expectations. All right, so this is really interesting. You know, like, what do I know about worship, really? And you know, I kind of figured that maybe this is God's way of getting me to think about it a little bit, because I never have, right? I never have. You know, so and the folks who've been with the church from the beginning will tell you, how many years have we existed? For the first 9, I wouldn't let anybody call me worship leader. That was strictly forbidden. I said, I'll be your guitar player, and I don't care if the guitar player leads the songs, but don't call me worship leader. And there are a couple parts to that, right? One is reputation. Nobody cares about the guitar player's reputation. You know, nobody cares if he has good social skills. Nobody is interested in any of that. And the other thing is solemnity, solemnness, gravitas. I don't handle that concept well. Worship is a big thing. I mean, just the word worship is huge. And you already know, I'm the first to admit, not a clue, okay? And if you need examples of my problems with solemnity, there is a reason I call it the chatty part. A sermon. Oh, wow. I can't, and so we're just having a discussion, because I cannot fathom speaking on or for or behalf of the Almighty. So screwed up is my idea of solemnness. When I was a little kid, I thought it was a sin to throw away church bulletins. I had a closet full. And my parents weren't like, they couldn't coach us on it because they didn't go to church. They dropped us off, and they'd come back and they'd pick us up. And, sorry, Mom. And, you know, but I was terrified to throw away a church bulletin. That was, you know, like a sacred piece of paper of God. So anyway, so I'm going to be very careful talking about some things. And we're going to talk a little bit about the bigness of it, and then we're going to talk about kind of the practical reality of it, okay? So for most of the Old Testament, worship was a real problem, right? Reading through the Old Testament, oh wait, before we do that, can you do Romans 12:1? Romans 12:1. Okay, so when I talk about the solemnness, I'm getting a little old. Can that be any bigger? Okay, so therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Can that get any bigger? Can that get any more intimidating? You know, if it isn't hard for me to pick up my guitar and to be in front doing that, I mean, now you really see guitar player. Just let me be the guitar player. So that's huge. So worship being a problem in the Old Testament, right? They spent so much time and so much, when you're reading it, it talks about all the false gods and idols that they worship, right? And there were tons of them. It's all through there. And so one of the most important things about God or about worship is, who is God to you? Right? Who is God? That's got to be like number one. If you're going to worship, who is God to you? Who are you talking to? You know, one of the things that I like, and one of the pictures that I kind of have in my head about God, have y'all seen those Fabergé eggs? Right? You know, you look at them and it's like, whoa, that's spectacular. But then they open it up and it's like something completely different. Like it's a piece of artwork inside a piece of artwork. and you have no idea what the inside piece of artwork is until you open it, and unless you know, you wouldn't even. You'd think, hey, that's beautiful. It's done. But that's the way I think of God, right? I only know the outside of the egg. I only know what I see. I only know the shell. I cannot pretend to tell you that I have any idea who God is. Now, I can tell you a little bit about what I know about him. So the first time that I tried to read the Bible, I got started, right, and you make good progress, and your target's a chapter a day, and you think, okay, I'll get through the whole thing. And then you hit Leviticus. And they followed up with Deuteronomy, whichever order that is. And then okay, the stories about David are a little more interesting. So you can kind of make it through Chronicles and Kings, and then you hit the prophets. And Jeremiah crushed my soul. All right. So there I am, bogged down in Jeremiah. And I'm done, right? It's like, okay. And nonetheless, so y'all have what I call Hail Mary prayers? No? A Hail Mary prayer is when you just lob it up and think, okay, I don't know. So there I am trying to get through Jeremiah, and I lobbed the Hail Mary prayer. God, I'm trying to read the Bible. I'm trying to do what's right. I can't get through this. I need your help. The next Sunday, we go to church. And the pastor, it was a Methodist church, he gets up and says, as a church, we're going to read the entire Bible this week. We've divided the entire Bible onto index cards and placed them on the altar. Come to the altar to get your index card for the Bible verses you're supposed to read. Exactly where I was stuck. Exactly what I needed to get through. Okay? So if you're going to, in worshiping God, you got to know who God is to you. So, and what's neat about that story is God didn't read it for me. He didn't make it easier. He just increased my obligation. But he delivered. And he listened. And he heard. And he did what I asked because it was in my best interest. Now, and for those who've been with us forever, you've already heard the stories of the incredible chain of coincidences. And so God is right here. God is with us. I've actually probably flung more Hail Mary prayers than I should have in my lifetime. And the ones that I needed him to come through on, he always has. So in the Old Testament, that's why it always seems so cool to me. Like Elijah was so adamant. Why are you praying to a piece of wood? Right? Over and over again, they're praying to wood. They're praying to rocks. They're praying to ideas. God is interactive. He always has been with me. God is personal, like to a pierce your heart kind of personal. And so one of the most important things when you're worshiping is talking about God to who he is to you. and trying to achieve a little better understanding. You know, to so many people, even to me sometimes, God is a genie in a bottle, right? A lot of times, those Hail Mary prayers, you don't really need that money that you think you need, because so for some folks, God's a parent, right? The metaphor, is put there on purpose, and God the Father, and I guess we need those ideas to kind of help us get started. But as you build your one-on-one personal, who is God to me? Why is God who He is to me? See, that's why I have a hard time talking about it. So absolutely, step one, worship. Who is God to you, and why do you believe? Why do you believe? I believe because those Hail Mary prayers got answered in a way that I cannot deny. It has happened so many times to me. If I even try to pretend for a second that I don't believe in God, I'm lying, and I'm trying to justify something that I shouldn't be doing. That's it. That's it right there. All right? So let's talk a little bit about the biblical concept of worship. All right? So let's start with Job, because Job's one of my favorites. All right? At this, Job got up, tore his robe, shaved his head, fell on the ground to worship. Be glad I didn't ask you to do that. All right? And I don't have to say more about that. 95:6, Psalms 95:6. Come, let us bow down and worship. Let us kneel before the Lord. Okay, so nowhere is it going to say stand and sing. In the whole thing, it is never going to say stand and sing. Let's get together. Okay, how about Genesis 22:5? Stay here with the donkey while I and the boy go over there, and we will worship. You know what he was going to do when he said that? He was going to sacrifice Isaac. Okay, so what you don't see, because what the Bible doesn't say is just as important what it does say. So you're not seeing a group activity. Okay, worship is very, very personal. You can't get much more personal than killing your kid. How about Revelations 19:4 and 5? The 24 elders and the 4 living creatures fell down and worshipped. Okay, so falling down in all things, you've never heard me say stand. You never heard, none of these have said stand up, raise. Humility. Humility is the essence of, it's hard to do this here in front of you guys. It's probably the most appropriate thing we can do. One of the things I like is, you remember that Indiana Jones movie, I think it was the third one, where he's going through and it says, and the clue is like a penitent man, and Indiana Jones is like, oh, on my knees, right? A penitent man. In worship, humility is huge. And that comes into focus as you really think about who God is. How can we be anything but small? I am a YouTube geek. I like pop culture physics. I wish that physicists were on bubblegum cards, right? Instead of baseball players. I don't want to take away from that, but I wish that physicists had their own place for bubblegum cards, because until you appreciate the complexity, until you maybe not until, but the more you understand how absolutely complicated it is, you can't put yourself into a proper framework relative to God. One of my favorite physicists her name was Vera something, I don't remember right now, but she did a computer model, right? And she said, okay, I'm going to put the estimated mass of the universe in a computer and see where little pockets of matter fall out. And never got the answer. And so she said, I'm going to throw a ton more matter in there, and then it all worked. And that's where this whole concept of dark matter, the matter in the universe that you can't see, right? You know, there could be a dining room table and chairs with God and a couple other people sitting right there, and I would never know. It's dark matter, I can't see it, but the calculations of the physicists say it's there. You know, and so I like that stuff. And that helps me to establish who I am with respect to it all. I really have no idea. And so that's important, right? That's, let's see. Okay, so there you go. That's a little bit of the framework of what we need to worship and what we and how to kind of establish your place in worship, and begins to hint at the difference between what the Bible says about it and where it's gone today. So now we're going to talk about where it's gone today. All right. So the worship leader, if I knew who that was. Worship leader, and you see what they do. It doesn't matter what church you go to, everybody's got one, and you see what they do. And so in our heads, the reason why the first part of this was so important, in our heads, a lot of times worship equals music. All right? And that, I don't want to say that trivializes it, but that's smaller than the big concept, right? We've kind of taken it, we've kind of ratcheted it down, and I think we do that because it's easier to handle, right? It's easier for me to grasp that than that whole present yourself as a holy living sacrifice to worship. You know, when I think of it that way, I'm never going to succeed, but I can sing. Well, I think. You guys are too nice to say I can't, but anyway, so we kind of have evolved. Was that a bad word in church? I don't know. We kind of got into a place where worship equals music, and it's this togetherness, group activity, and yeah, that's really. In some ways, it's distracting us from what worship is really supposed to be, right? I mean, because even if you think about the nature of a group activity, how do you get a group of people to agree on anything, right? And maybe that's why it was so personal and individual in the Old Testament, because, you know, just try to put a group of people together and get them to come up with a unifying, I mean, you look at how many different denominations there are and churches there are, and you know, and every single one of them has their own unique idea about. See, now I'm getting messed up because I don't even want to say worship because I'm thinking of the first half meaning, but I'm talking about the second half meaning now. They all have their own idea of the second half meaning of worship, okay? And some of that is wonderful, right? I love the different denominations. When you want to feel holy and sacred, there is nothing like a Catholic service, right? And there are wonderful things that the Catholics have done because of their corporate nature. Look at the artwork. You know, just going into the cathedrals, you know, they have a resource base because they built a corporate infrastructure that allows them to do things. Okay, Revive, we're not going to build a cathedral. You know, we're probably just not going to get around to that. And that's okay. That's not our role. Because, again, we're back to the personal nature of worship. when we all get to the pearly gates, the guy's going to say, well, did you have trouble finding a church you liked? Shouldn't. So I love what the Catholic Church does. The heritage that the Vatican preserves for us. I wish like crazy we could all go there and go through the archives, and you could just sign up and say, I'd like to visit the archives for an hour and walk around and see. But the truth is, what they've built does something for the spiritual community that is unique to the way they did it. Now, the way they did it, it has its problems, right? They have all the problems of a major corporation. And that's just people being people. That's the way it is. But I like to, let's take the good, right? Let's take the good. The charismatics, right? How many of you have been to a charismatic church? They are so fun. Oh my gosh, are they fun? Just the spirit, the all out, let loose the emotion, just praise God, praise Jesus. It is a wonderful experience. That makes me a little nervous sometimes, just, okay, it can get a little over the top if you're asking me, but, but so every denomination, every church is, in my opinion, is God bringing that back to more personal, right? Okay, you need to do it this way. You need to do it that way. It's there for you. It doesn't matter how you need it to be. God meets us where we are. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I had a lot more on people trying to get people to agree, but I don't really care about that. Okay, so now, I have talked about it, the second half in a smaller way, but I do want you to know how important the music section is, and that's where we get to 1 Chronicles 25. Okay, so David, together with the commanders of the army, set apart some of the sons of these people for prophecy, accompanied by harps, lyres, and cymbals. And here's the list of men who perform this service, and it's a long list. I don't know if you copied it up there, but I'm okay if you didn't. Anyway, there's people and people and people and people. And Chronicles, which happens to be the chapter I'm reading on my way through the Bible right now, he lists all the singers of the temple. And there's a zillion of them. And so it is very, very important. I wish, I don't know that I've ever seen a 5,000-year-old hymn. I mean, we got Psalms, but I want the music. I want it, we're all very constrained to the Western European idea of music. They kind of shaped everything and put it in the form that it's in now. But wouldn't it be fun if we could know that? So anyway, music is very, very important. And so now we're going to talk about music a little bit. All right. So some of you know how much I struggled with doing the music gig. Given my half engineering, half artistic personality, terrified in front of even you guys today, I had a lot of trouble getting there. And nonetheless, Dave will tell you, it was very clear God wanted me to be doing exactly what I was supposed to be doing. And I didn't even tell my own wife. I didn't tell her I was doing it. She just saw me leaving on Sunday mornings with a guitar, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I said, Nothing. I'll be back in an hour or two. So how to get there? All right, how to get there. I love the kids with the shakers, right? And there are things that I love about this church setting that we've got, right? where let the kids dance, let them jump around, let them just express it. Don't hold them back. Let them, yeah, and so at first it was like I'm having such trouble with this. I went and I got singing lessons. I started taking singing lessons. You know, and you go to your singing lesson, and they're like, okay, you do this note and that note, and blah, 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 and you, yeah, and it didn't help at all. And so then, for about 2 years, I tried a recording studio, and I was going to record a couple of my own songs. And so you get instant feedback from what you do. You record the track, you listen to it, and it's like, even now I don't like our internet recordings. Ugh. Okay, so, and you're going to be involved in this. So then, finally, what happened was, I was going through a little rough patch, right? And so one day, I'm actually walking through the plant, and I see that 1-800-EAP thing, right? Everybody's got an employee assistance program. You want to talk to a therapist, they'll sign you up. And I'm thinking, what do I got to lose? So I called them up. Beep, boop, 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 boop. Hello, employee assistance program. Hi, yeah, my name's Vince. I'd like to talk to a therapist. Oh, well, before we get started, we have a couple of questions we have to ask you. Do you feel like you're a threat to yourself and others? No, I just want to talk to a therapist, please. Okay, no problem. Here's a phone number for you. Call it up. So I call the guy back. I'm like, hey, buddy, you know, I called this number you gave me, and it's out of service, and so I just need you to give me a number. Oh, wait, you're getting ahead of yourself? Before I can help you, I have to ask you, do you feel like you're a threat to yourself or others? No, I talked to you 15 minutes ago, and I said no to this. Well, you got to understand, Mr. Smody, now it's our protocol. Okay. The number didn't work. I want a new number. Try this one. Beep, bop, boop, 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 boop. I got a answering machine. You know the kind. You've reached 555-7617. Leave your message after the beep. Well, this is 2220122. And I think you're a little paranoid for a therapist, but if you're in that business, give me a call. This is a true story. A couple days go by, I get a call. I answer it, and the first thing they say to me is, who is this? You called me. I think you should know who I am. You left a message on my answering machine. Oh, I do remember. Yeah, so you still in the therapy business? No. That's probably good. So I called back. Or, well, the 1-800 number. Hey, this is Vince. I need another number. Well, Mr. Smody, you know, before I can talk to you, I have to ask you, do you feel like you're a threat to yourself and others? No, but I'm getting closer. Anyway, I did finally get to a therapist who's very, well, at least listened, right? And when I was talking about the singing thing, right? And why isn't the singing thing working for me? She said, what do you feel? What do you feel when you're singing? What does it mean to you when you're saying what you're saying when you're singing? That was a game changer. One of the reasons why it's nice not to do completely unknown songs every week is so that you know what you're singing, right? If I change the songs to something brand new every single week, you would not have a chance to just read the words, right? And to decide what they're, are you on board? You know, and you all know this, there are songs I won't play. You know, I'll read them and it's like, that's a little sketch. I can't imagine that. And so part of the struggle of doing this was that people wanted me to play that We Won't Be Shaken song. And I'm like, I can't do it. Now, I finally did it, but before I did it, I got up and I said, look, I don't agree with this. I don't believe it, right? Because when it says your worship, a holy and living sacrifice, you know, the New Testament, Jesus said, worship in truth and spirit. The worst thing I can do when I'm playing that song is be lying. To you, to God, to anybody. So I played that song, but I'm like, look, I have to tell you the truth. I have to unburden my heart about what's about to happen here. Okay? And the odd thing is that was right. It felt incredibly wrong. Y'all know I can't play In Christ Alone all the way through. I can't even talk about it. As he stands in victory, sin's curse has lost its grip on me. For I am his, and he is mine. No guilt in life, no fear in death. This is the power of Christ in me. I cannot read that. And so what the therapist told me, what do you feel? What does it mean to you? And only then is it really getting close to worship. I don't know what the big worship thing is. I can't comprehend it. I can't call a sermon a sermon. I don't know whether a church bulletin is sacred. I don't know what I'm going to do with the paper I wrote this on. I have trouble throwing these away. Do you see how many are in here? I have trouble throwing them away. It's got to be something wrong with throwing away In Christ Alone. So, now it's your turn. We're going to practice. So the first song, where when she said that to me, she said, "What do you feel? What does it mean to you?" And where it really broke through. Would you please stand? Was Rejoice. Okay, this is the first song that I fell in love with because to me, it says something that transcends the smallness. Okay? So, if you're just singing it, see the morning, see it rising over the mountains high, see the mercy in the mighty hand of God. Living water, come and fill us, only you can satisfy. Turn our sorrow into singing, the song of life. Rejoice, rejoice, sing with the angel voices. Rejoice, rejoice, all heaven and earth rejoice. But when you start thinking, okay, when you watch the pop singers or the music videos, right? There is no more emotionally laden voice to me than Janis Joplin. All right, when I think about and what I came to accept is drama is part of singing, right? We're conveying the drama of what is happening in our hearts and our souls as we're singing it, all right? So now, that's not the way that I have sung Rejoice for a lot of years. Rejoice, rejoice, sing with the angel voices. Rejoice, rejoice, all heaven and earth rejoice. And that's what I want you to do. Rejoice, rejoice, sing with the angel voices. Rejoice, rejoice, all heaven and earth rejoice. Always, again I say rejoice. Always, again I say rejoice. Always, again I say rejoice. Always, always. Everything you got. You know, if you picture yourself singing with the angel voices, because they're here, right? That's the promise to us. Two gather together in His name, and that's it, and that's here. And when you are singing that, that is happening. Okay? And so throw it out there, right? It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be, it has to be honest. It has to be sincere. It has to be felt. And it can be, because it is real. You are singing with the angel voices. You personally are in the godly choir at that moment. And isn't that beautiful? Can it get more genuine than that? I got a little bit of it in me. All right, so with that, we'll back to Vince. We'll do the communion thing. Last row first, please. Um, All right, so would you please fall down? That's going to be my standard joke from now on. You ain't going to get away from that ever again. Would you please stand? You know, I have had a wonderful opportunity to coach a lot of young folks going through this worship team. And one of them said to me, Vince, what you telling me about singing, I feel like I'm shouting. Yeah. Yeah. You ever watch Bono? I mean, Janis Joplin, yeah. But Bono, you want a lesson in that? Watch Bono for a little. All right, so we're gonna practice. Feel free to let loose. See the morning, see it rising over the mountains high. See the mercy in the mighty hand of God. Living water, come and fill us. Only you can satisfy. Turn our sorrow into singing the song of life. Rejoice, rejoice, sing with the angel voices. Rejoice, rejoice, all heaven and earth rejoice. Lord, your strength is a tower the righteous run into. Lord, your love is a banner over us, and we hold on to the promise that your hold on us is true. There's no other